Pleased to be joined by two members of the University of Missouri hockey team, senior captain and club president Nick Spolec and senior goaltender Jack Dobbs. Spoles, Dauber, welcome to the Hockey House.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Psyched to have you guys on. Congratulations on your first couple wins this weekend. I do have to address the elephant in the room because I've been in that situation before. Really tough being on the road when you watch everybody storm the field at the football game, huh?
No, definitely. It was. It's cool. We actually had the game pulled up on our phone in the locker room. We all stepped out of the locker room to watch the game. They were pulling it up, and then it happens, and everyone's just going absolutely crazy. And our coach is in the hallways like, "What's going on, boys?" And he's like, and we were just like, Mizzou football they just took it home, 61-yarder, and he's like, "Oh, that's sick! Like, love it." So it was a cool moment for sure, and nice that Mizzou could get two big wins for sure.
Yeah, we got off the ice, and maybe like 30 seconds after our coach finished the speech, it was, holy crap, we're kicking a 61-yarder, and everyone just crowded around it. It was an awesome moment for us, even if we didn't get to be on the field.
That's like club hockey, right? Like everybody's like, "Oh, it's a joke, it's no big deal," and then like you miss out on, like, we talk about the college experience and how you get to enjoy so many things playing hockey, but then you got to get work. The season starts right in the fall and it runs through February. So walk us through this weekend. Like, you guys seem to have like picked up where you left off last year. Two big wins over Illinois State.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great week. Great weekend. We had a really good week of preparation. We had a couple good weeks of preparation before that. Just our meetings were really attentive. Everyone was just really ready to go. And obviously our practices had been really fluid and really good. I think everyone was just itching to get going. And I think, we played really well. Illinois State was a good team. I think we stayed true to what we were, and we just were really prepared going into the games, and it turned out to be a great first roadie for sure. Get to know everyone a little bit better, all the new guys that are coming in, spend some time with each other away from the rink and away from campus. It was a great experience for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our team and our brotherhood is just so strong right now, and we were all just so pumped going into these games, just for our personal reasons, just to have fun, and then also, of course, because we're really serious this year about winning a lot of games. And man, it was just it was a great weekend. We had a great time, and then also just got to win some hockey games. We got to watch that win. We're really excited for this year.
Spoles, I got to give you credit, because in doing my research and looking at your EP, it was really nice knowing that you already have 10 points, which is more points than I had all last season as a defenseman. So wanted to give you a stick tap for that.
Appreciate it.
A couple stick taps, maybe.
Yeah.
Big 7-2 win and 10-0 win. So you guys are off to a really hot start. And Mizzou is a team that's on the rise in ACHA M3. And I just want to kind of get to know you guys a little bit better. Like, for everyone listening, walk us through your hockey journeys. Both guys from Missouri. Spoles, we'll throw it over to you first. Like, where'd you play hockey growing up?
Yeah, so I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I didn't pick up hockey until about 12 years old. My dad, who's from Colorado, he was a hockey player, and he kind of introduced me to the sport, and I really just kind of took off and ran with it. It became a passion. It's my number one love in life. It's got me so many opportunities. Just so fortunate that it's been placed in my life. But I grew up playing in Kansas City. I moved to Omaha to play Omaha AAA for half a year, wound up going back to Kansas City. Still kind of wanted to pursue a dream even further. Wound up going to Minnesota and playing juniors for the Minnesota Blue Hawks in the USPHL. Tremendous brotherhood that I found there, some of my best friends, and so many connections that I made up there. I really loved it. Wound up playing for a year during the shortened COVID year at St. Olaf College in CAD3, and then wound up transferring from there to go to Gustavus. Didn't wind up working out there, and then wound up at Mizzou, which was just such an incredible opportunity. My best friend was the club president. His name is Holden Carroll. He's done so much for the team, but I wound up transferred to Mizzou, and it was easily the most incredible experience of my life. I've loved every second of it, just the transformation of this program. It's been so amazing. But, I've always just had a passion for it, and I've had a very windy, different road than most. And I think that's what's amazing about the sport, is that no paths are alike, and it's cool to connect with people and share my story and hear other people's story as well. So I'm very fortunate for every step that I've taken, and everything has happened in my life for a reason in terms of hockey. So I'm super fortunate about that. And ultimately, I couldn't be more satisfied that I wound up at the University of Missouri.
Yeah, walk us through, like, were you looking at other schools, or, when it hadn't worked out for you at St. Olaf, and then, you know, another tough year to start 2021, like, are you just like, you know what, like, college is supposed to be fun, like, are you just thinking, like, where can I go and play hockey and, enjoy my experience more?
Definitely. And obviously, my best friend was in my ear constantly about coming to Mizzou, and it was kind of a seamless transition to be able to land there. I was definitely looking at other options, but I also knew that I wanted to be close to home. I mean, I hadn't consistently lived at home or around home for about 4 or 5 years now. So I wanted to go back to be with my family, be back with my friends. And I definitely had looked in other places, but I also wanted to just enjoy the experience and kind of pivot from one certain type of experience and type of lifestyle to maybe a different style that I'm provided here that I've just absolutely fallen in love with.
Yeah, and then Dauber, for you, I mean, more of a straightforward path with you. I mean, walk us through growing up in St. Louis and how you ended up at Mizzou.
Yeah, I grew up in St. Louis. My dad was a hockey player. He was a goalie too. So he got me, skating as young as pretty much he could, and I did learn to play and all that as a kid. But then I just, fell in love with other sports. I played baseball and soccer and all that, and I didn't really play hockey super competitively until I was about 12 or 13, like Nick will here. And then, so from that point on, I just played like house league, Bantam Double A for the Kirkwood Stars over there in St. Louis, and then from then on, I just played for Kirkwood High School. And I was fortunate enough to play with some really, really good goalies at Kirkwood High School who were able to show me a lot. Mitchell Day is one of them. He's playing at Niagara University right now. And I learned a lot from Mitch. I'm still learning a lot from Mitch. Just his Instagram account is crazy. We give him a follow. And then, yeah, I just, after high school, it was looking at colleges and I wanted to go somewhere close by. I would have fun somewhere that also had hockey, but, that I was obviously more academically focused. And then I came here and I didn't realize just how much I would fall in love with this team and this league and everything that has come with it. The first year I was here, we, had a pretty good year, and it was like the first year that like the team looked promising in a long time and everyone was really excited, and that was really cool. And then last year we just took off with that, and since then it's just been like a roller coaster of just fun, and it's been some of the most competitive hockey that we've ever gotten to play. So this is really great.
Yeah, and Dauber, in your first year with the team, what was your welcome to the ACHA moment? Was there a moment early on that, you weren't expecting, or, something bad happened? It feels like sometimes the bus is breaking down or the jerseys don't come in on time. Like, was there a welcome to the ACHA moment you had?
For us, a little bit just showing up at the rink for the first time. We play in a community rink down in Jeff City, Missouri. That it has seen a long time of. It's just been worse for wear. We'll put it at that. Um, but it so like getting that to the rink for the first time, and like I remember it was COVID, so they had us in like one person to a room with like one other person, and we're in these tiny locker rooms that are in the basement locker room. If you ever find yourself in the Washington Park Ice Arena, it's like a dungeon down there. So that, and then our first road trip down to Springfield, just like being on a bus all day, and then just having to go and then play in front of as many people as Springfield and to do in most state down there. Um, that was just a lot. Yeah. So I would say that most state weekend, the first weekend, was like our first big win that was promising too. So yeah.
Spoils for you. I mean, going from NCAA and, playing a little bit of ACHA before coming over to Mizzou, like, what was your welcome to the ACHA moment at Mizzou?
I think just the difference in organizational structure was the biggest welcome to the ACHA moment. Obviously, just playing in some of those places, everything is kind of just like I taken care of. You're not on the front lines activating for your team and marketing your team and literally running your own team. But coming here and being able to do that, it's the success of the club is solely dependent on how much effort the students put in. Was one of the most incredible experiences that I've been able to receive and be a part of. So it was definitely a welcome to the ACHA moment, just the organizational structure. But embedded in that was some of the most incredible connections, people, and life experiences that I've ever garnered, for sure.
One of the unique aspects that I learned about you guys when you were at Nationals in Boston last year is the sponsorships. And I see you both wearing the team apparel with the Gumby's logo on it, which you guys proudly wear. Yeah, we'll give them a free ad here.
Big tap.
You guys proudly wear it on your helmets too, and I think that's like a very unique aspect that you probably wouldn't see at the NCAA level. What's that partnership like? How did that come about?
Yeah, and our partners are the reason why like we have the things that we do, and we've developed so many great relationships with partners locally in Columbia, and also outsourcing to Jefferson City, some satellite cities such as like Centralia, who Jim Butler, they're our biggest partner this year. Being able to nurture and create those types of partnerships has just been so incredible for our club, and it's really helped us get to those next levels. We love activating with them; they support us. We love supporting them. We're definitely always in Gumby's getting slices off for sure. It's great to have the partners that we do, and we always are looking forward to gaining new ones, and also just nurturing and maintaining the ones that we currently have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's college kids and pizza. I don't think there's a better combo than that.
Do you guys get like chirps on the ice, or guys like what are you wearing on your helmet?
We actually got like some pretty positive feedback, which is why. So last year was the first year that we did the helmet sticker, and we had like guys all the time would go into face-offs, and they'd just be like, dudes would read it and be like, "What is that?" And then they'd be like, we'd actually get like, "That's kind of sick."
Yeah.
And we expect to get a chirp for that, but
Yeah.
instead guys are gassing us up, so we were like, "Oh, run it back this year for sure."
It happened in Boston a ton. Guys would line up on the face-off, and they're like, "What is that?" And you just tell them it's a local pizza spot in Como, and they would be like, "Oh, that's pretty rad." So it was cool to get that recognition, and I know that Gumby's really loved it, and we absolutely love repping Gumby's on the helmet sticker on the helmet. It looks great.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure we give them a shout. I love the dry fit shirts. That's even better too.
These are
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
Fairly new to Mizzou hockey. We followed you guys a ton last year with the conference championship and going to nationals. But like, what did Mizzou hockey look like a year before that?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak personally. I was only there for a semester, so I didn't get as big of a taste as Dauber. But first of all, thank you guys for obviously, highlighting us and showcasing it and connecting with us during those runs. It meant a lot to us. But just difference, I think, in mindset. I think just a group of guys that really came together and were like, I think, we absolutely have our fate is in our hands, and we can do whatever we set our minds to. As cliche as it sounds, we can take our team to new heights and new levels. And we were able to do that just by being consistent, just by connecting with the community, getting a good fan base, really starting to build the organization back up from the ground up. And with that stuff off the ice led to on ice success. More guys just kind of kept believing and kept fighting for the greater purpose of the organization. Obviously, to win games, but also just to keep growing the organization as much as possible.
Yeah, I think like Nick just touched on it a little bit. I think the biggest difference has been belief. Like 2 years ago, the team, it was a group of guys that would show up, and everybody loved hockey. Everybody loved the game, obviously, and everybody loved to play. But I mean, that was pretty much the extent of it. In terms of going to nationals or even regionals, it seemed kind of like a far-fetched dream. And then, but that year we won a few big games. We beat like Mo State, which was a big rivalry win for us. And I think we went undefeated that second half of the semester. So yeah, we definitely like started to believe sort of towards that end of that year, 2 years ago. And then that rolled into this last year where I think it started that first weekend in Mo State. We got a really big win, a really big OT dub. I remember at the beginning of last year, and then from that moment, it was like no moment's going to be too big for this team. We can battle and overcome anything that comes our way, and that was our mentality the whole year long, and it stuck with us the whole year long, and it's stuck with us through the summer and through training camp and everything, and we're still rolling off that same mentality. So that's been the biggest difference, just the belief and the drive to want to win.
One thing that I had picked up on prior to, the run you guys had last year was the border war. Like in college sports, like everybody knows the rivalries. KU's the big rivalry. It's the big matchup. You guys seem to pack the barn every time you play them. What are some of your favorite memories against playing Kansas that you guys like? Do you remember the first time you played them? What are some memories? I know you blew them out of the water last year, and that was a big deal before nationals too. So I'd love, what do people need to know about the border war?
I mean, it's KU Mizzou. That's really all there is, and it's a battle every single time we play them. And I mean, the fans get really into it every single time we play them, both in the stands, around the rink, around campus, online. It never stops with the KU Mizzou rivalry, and then every time we get to step onto the ice with them, it's a show for sure. My favorite moment was my freshman year, or my sophomore year, as my first year playing. They came here for a home game, and it was the most packed I've ever seen our rink. Still, it's the loudest it's ever been. We beat them. I think the score was like 6-1 or 6-2, and I mean it was a show. It was the most fun, like, performative hockey game I feel like I've ever played in, where everyone was just, the house was rocking and everyone was just all about Mizzou hockey that day. It was great.
Yeah, it's an incredible rivalry, and it's always a special opportunity to play them. Our fans just absolutely love it. They go crazy. We enjoy it ourselves playing in those types of big games. Specifically speaking of like a moment that I remember, the game that we were supposed to play when I first joined the team sophomore year got canceled, the border war, and then there was a couple hiccups with getting the game re-going again. So then we did a home and home, and I just remember when we played at home. We're skating out, and 800 people in the stands, and it was a roar from the crowd like I've never heard. In a college game, I had never played in front of that many people in a college game. It was a roar when we got introduced, and I remember the first goal. I think it might have been Jack Estes at the time. He tucked, and the crowd just went absolutely crazy. And so I remember that continuing to carry us through, and we wound up winning that game on home ice, and then just after the game, just meeting with all the students, getting high fives and all the students' energy, just really was a special moment for us. But I think for the organization, kind of catapulted us into a little bit more relevancy than we had experienced in the last 2 or 3 years. So it was an incredible experience for us to play that game in front of that many people. And, our crowds have been always really, really nice, especially the last year or so. But that specific moment was amazing, and one I'll never forget. And obviously, with KU involved, it makes it even more special.
Do they host the game that's at the ECHL arena? Because that's where they play their regular season games out of, right?
So the game is hosted at the Big Bowl. They play at the small rink connected to the Big Bowl. The Big Bowl is presented by the rink itself. So that's kind of a neutral site game, even though Kansas is technically closer. So, yeah.
Dobbs, I got to ask, because I saw the video. Was that you or Tanner Richardson doing the pull-ups on the net afterwards?
Oh, that was neither of us. That was Michael Christopher, and he's our other goalie.
Unbelievable dude,
an absolute unreal beauty. And he came up to me in the TV timeout with like 10 minutes left on the bench, and he was like, "Should I do it? Should I bench the net?" And I said, "Absolutely." Definitely didn't think he was going to do it. Thought he was joking entirely, and then clock winds down and I see him go for it, and we all just start going nuts, of course. But yeah, that was awesome.
I think there was about 11 guys that were just collectively saying, "Oh my God, this is happening!" It was hilarious. We were all laughing for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think he pumped 15 of them, 15 bench reps. So I mean, I guess he could push a little bit of weight.
Them out for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the angle of the video I saw, I couldn't see the number in the video, so I figured it was one of the two of you. But that's awesome that it was the other guy. That I mean, you guys played them after. I'm looking at the calendar after the conference championship last year. So let's rewind a little bit. Walk us through that, because I'm assuming going in, like, it wasn't guaranteed that you guys were going to nationals, right? You had to win the MACHA title.
Yeah, our ranking was pretty high up there, so we felt confident going into the MACHA tournament, but we knew that getting an auto bid was absolutely the best case scenario for us, and so we came in that tournament very, very focused and very determined to win it.
Yeah, it was a tremendous moment for our organization, and has been one of the most pivotal things that have happened to us to win that championship. I honestly can't remember, just because it was one of those blackout moments. It was just such a surreal time for everyone, and just the celebration, the camaraderie, our connection with our fans. was so special. In the next couple days on campus, people high-fiving us as we're walking down, in the quad and everything, and walking around campus. And Mizzou social media page just wanted to give us a shout out. And just, I remember we got like 15, 20 interview requests from local newspapers and local TV outlets. So we really felt the love from the community. But just in the locker room, just that was one moment that I knew changed guys' lives forever in terms of their hockey experience, including mine. And I think all guys' lives were changed from that. It was an incredible moment and just so special. And it was really a culmination of just that belief we had the entire year. It was kind of like that reward. But what was cool is we win that, and then immediately the next kind of couple days after, it was like, all right, let's get to work. We're ready for Natty's. Like, let's go win the entire thing. And it wasn't just like a tongue in cheek. It was like, let's go win the entire thing. Like, let's do this. So just such a special moment, and has definitely catapulted us into just this belief that, nothing can stop our team, and we're always going to, provide whatever we can every single game.
It was an unreal 3 days last year. Especially for me, I mean, I played every game of that tournament, and that was 3 days in a row of having to go and play. And Wash U, that first game was it was a goalie battle. I remember. I think at one point it was 1-1, and both sides had 40 plus shots. And then I think both sides finished with over 50. I think, and and that game finished 2-1, 3-1. And then the next day we had to turn around and just play an absolute grind of a battle against probably our biggest rival right now in Arkansas. I mean, every game that we played against them this year was incredibly close. I think we went 1-1 against them in the regular season. And yeah, I mean, that whole game was an absolute battle. I mean, I know they had Cam McAtee out there, who's always such a hard player to play against. I know we're very glad that he's not going to be there anymore. But I mean, like Nick said, that game for me was a game that it's kind of hard for me to look back on and remember. I was just so locked in and so in the zone for the whole time. But I remember, being down early in that game and everyone just being kind of really nervous and not really kind of losing our identity. We'd been so confident the entire year. Every time we were in the locker room, we had just this confidence about us. And then I think it was during the second intermission where someone in the room just said, "Hey guys, what are we doing? We're playing with our sticks too tight. We're just way too tight right now. We need to relax and just get back to having fun." Because when we're having fun, that's when we play our best game. And then so we went out there and we came back and we won it. I think 4-3 or 4-2. Yeah. And that was an absolutely incredible game. And I remember hearing our win song after that game in our locker room. It's "Afraid to Feel." It's an absolute banger. And the feeling that washed over me, just hearing that song and knowing that we had just beaten Arkansas in the semifinals of our regional championship, felt amazing. And then we had to come back the next day and play Nebraska. And then we had another grind against Nebraska. And I think that game was, pretty high scoring, and it winds up going to OT. And I remember in OT, there was one moment where they were coming down on a rush, and I don't think anybody else knows how close this game got to ending early in OT, because the puck just came shot. It was coming from about the top of the circle, and I was it just caught me a little off guard because I was watching the pass at the time, and the puck was coming going right top corner, and it just skipped right over my glove, and I finally got my elbow on it and went over the net, and I was took the biggest deep breath of my entire life after that, and I locked in. I remember at one point I turned to Spoles in there and I said, "You got to go score," and then he went down there, picked the puck up off the wing, and passed it to our captain at the time, Hank, and Hank buried it, and I just remember just jubilation. Everybody went nuts. It looked like we won the Stanley Cup out there. So that was just an incredible 3 days last March and the last February, and it brought us into nationals in Boston and brought us all that success, and we're still rolling off of that. So it's been an incredible time.
Yeah, I made sure to go back and watch Hank's goal. Spoles, what do you remember about that play, when you picked up the puck?
Yeah, I just remember it happened really fast, but when I go back and watch it, it was a puck battle that had to get won, and after that puck battle was won, the pass is right there, and the goalie stuck his stick out to try to poke it away, and he made a really good read on it, but that puck inches away gets past him, and I just remember Hank settles the puck down. I'm like, just shoot it, just shoot it, just shoot it. And then he buries it. And then obviously, as Dauber said, just jubilation, just complete, just happiness and excitement. It was great. But looking back, I mean, the puck battle had to get won against the boards in order to make the play happen. And, you have to win those types of battles and those types of games. And those little battles, those little moments are the difference between championships and not. So special moment for sure. And Hanky obviously burying it was amazing, but so many plays before that led us to get to where we were at. Dauber with a goal, Ben Schrader, a first-year player on the team with one of the biggest goals in team history for sure, that tied the game for us. So, again, just piecing together those little moments that created the ultimate championship was special to look back on as well.
Do you guys remember any little moments when the puck hit the back of the net? Like, are you thinking about like how high you're going to throw your helmet into the rafters, or who you're going to hug first, or was it just like total chaos? You black out and you just hug the boys?
It was chaos. I remember me, Henry Caston, Eli Baumstark were on the ice, so we obviously get together and we're jumping, and then I just remember just a wave of 20 guys in gray jerseys just absolutely dogpile us. And I remember Jack Hazelton literally jumping on top of the dog pile from the back. And so we were kind of like holding him up, like this 220-pound just beast of a human being. We were holding him up, just all like celebrating in the air. So it was cool. And then we were right in front of our fans and parents and students and everything, and they're banging on the glass, getting videos. It was unreal.
Yeah, that was absolutely unreal. That game was in St. Louis too, so for me, I had like a lot of coaches and a lot of former coaches and stuff just pop out and come and watch and support, and obviously my whole family was there too. And yeah, like Nick said, I remember thinking, like, don't throw my helmet, like I really, nothing can happen to that helmet. I really need it, and I still threw that thing probably 30 feet in the air. So I was excited.
You guys talk about all the partnerships that you've done. I mean, the best part of any season is when you clinch that moment to go to nationals, but arguably the toughest challenge is funding that trip to nationals. Like, did you guys have to do anything crazy to make sure that you got to Boston?
Ton of fundraising efforts, and we literally could not have done it without the generous support of the community. A special shout out to Sean Carrier, nicknamed Yeti, the tallest guy, the big 6'7" guy. His parents actually paid for the flights out there. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't have been able to go out there. And obviously all the other support that we raised helped funded our trip. So every dollar that we raised counted, and it meant so much to our program. So thank you again to all the donors that were able to donate for us. But I remember sitting, because I was vice president last year, and our president, Jacob Cash, we're sitting in the basement, and we're like, we have 13 days to raise 20 grand. Like how are we going to do this? And we're just sitting there strategizing. What we did is we leaned heavily on our partners to help us out. Just leaned heavily on our social media presence. Obviously, those news outlets that were still carrying our MACHA victory helped us out tremendously. And I remember kind of when it all got done, we hit our 20 grand mark, and I think I hugged Jacob, and we just like our entire board just came in a big group hug, because it was one of the most challenging experiences of our life, but it really, we learned so many things about continuing to just connect with people and exercise our connections and build those types of relationships that we had built all year that wound up helping us out so much in our fundraising efforts. And, again, every penny that we raised helped us out tremendously for our Boston trip. And we could not be more thankful for all the generosity we received, for sure.
Spoles, was there any, I know you mentioned that you're trying to get into cooking. Like, was there any mention of you chipping in for a bake sale or anything to get the boys going?
I was going to say, I might need to make like 250 cookies or something. You could start dishing them out on the street or something. I don't know. Some brownies. I'm not sure. I would have done anything.
Get you guys behind the counter at Gumby slinging some Zaws.
I would have slung as many Zaws necessary, for sure.
Anything for that Boston trip.
Yeah,
sure. You get to Boston, and like, what is that like? Because I think they did a really good job this year of, it being in Marlboro, all the sheets of ice they have, everybody's under one roof. Like, was that overwhelming? Did you guys expect that going in, or was it like, I mean, there was just hockey everywhere?
I think the ACHA did a tremendous job in the tournament and how they ran it, and I know a lot of our guys felt the same way. It was very organized, very structured. I had played at that rink before, so I kind of knew what to expect. But as you can imagine, I mean, they're hosting so many teams and so many players in that tournament. But I felt the way the ACHA did it was very, very well. Made our lives a lot easier. It was cool to have like all the merch and all the opportunities for like other companies that were selling stuff. It was just a really cool event, and I think the facility was perfect for it too. Um, it was an unreal experience, and I'll let Dauber speak on it. But I think the way the ACHA did it was tremendous, and how they ran the tournament. We were really like we weren't surprised, but we were just really pleasantly just like we were pleased by how well it was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was like Nick said, it was just really well organized, and to like have the real professional feel of feeling like you are a college hockey player playing in a college hockey national championship is really cool, and I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. And they did a really good job of providing that feeling, and I'm sure they'll do a great job of it doing it in Centene and St. Louis this year. Um, but yeah, I mean, that whole trip was incredible. Being able to be on a flight with the boys to wheels up and get out of there, and then to be in there and to spend pretty much a whole week with everybody, and just be surrounded by hockey the entire time. And our hotel was filled with hockey players too, so it was just hockey, hockey, hockey for a whole week. And I know it was one of the best vacations of my life, and everybody else on the team said similar. So, and it being in a city as cool as Boston too, just being able to walk around that city is awesome. So.
I gotta know because that's a lot of time for a group of 18 to 23-year-olds to spend together. Like, what was the best off ice moment of the week?
Yeah, that's tough. We did a lot of really fun things, and I wouldn't say that this was the most fun thing, but specifically just like going to Fenway Park was super cool. All the things that we did in downtown Boston was really cool. It was a lot of just like kind of walking around. Like if you see a restaurant you like, we'd go hit a restaurant and hang out and talk and just enjoy the weather outside, go by the boardwalk. So I wouldn't say that anything encapsulated like a singular moment. I think just the experience of being downtown, exploring a new city with your best friends was really, really special for sure.
There's absolutely nothing like it. It speaks for itself. Being able to spend that much time with the boys on a hockey trip is like a godsend, really.
I will say what was cool was going. We did the Fenway Park tour, which was really cool, and then we went underneath, like near the Green Monster. They have like a restaurant there, and I remember a bunch of boys got clam chowder for the first time, and so we were eating that. So that kind of gave us that Boston feel, which was really special. And then we look out the window, and you can see the entire field. So that was pretty sick for sure. And like I said, just everything else in Boston was unreal.
Yeah, I'd definitely say that Fenway trip, or just landing in Boston where you have that, the airport is like you are flying over the ocean, and just like everybody, I mean, like I said, we were all on the flight together. So like kind of having that moment of being like, we're landing in Boston right now, boys, was really sick too.
Yeah, and I'll touch on a story that's kind of funny, and I know he won't be upset for telling us. I'm going to pick on him a little bit, but Cole Morris, Coley, he's got this weird thing apparently with flights where if he looks outside and like sees water, like he'll just like it's an automatic gag reflex, like he'll throw up. So we're all enjoying it, taking pictures, and all you hear is just yakking, and we're like, oh my god, dude, you couldn't make it to land. And so that was pretty funny, and we were all just joking around with him about that. But I just remember him saying, like, if I see water, it's not going to be good. And immediately, no one's thinking about it. They just lift up the window and start taking pictures and everything. So it was pretty funny.
Well, I was gonna ask too, like, were there any local guys on the team to show you guys around? But now I'm scrolling through the roster. It's like St. Louis, Kansas City, Illinois, St. Louis. Like, you guys are a bunch of Midwest boys. Like, were you a bunch of fish out of water walking around Boston?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And one thing we did do though is we reached out to the northeastern chapter of like the Mizzou Alumni Association. So we actually met up like a lot of Mizzou alumni that were in Boston. They came and supported our games. We got to connect with them and grow our relationship with fans like that even further, which was really cool. There had been a bunch of parents that had been as well, but no in-staters or even in the area for us. So we were a little bit of fish out of water. I think. People were saying that we had accents, which we're like, I don't think that that's even remotely close. I think you guys have the accents, but it was pretty funny. And yeah, no local guys, but we did our best to assimilate as much as we could. We were wearing the Red Sox gear, wearing the Celtics gear, all that kind of stuff.
But it's funny because, like, those are probably the things you guys are going to remember from nationals, right? Like, we can get to the hockey side of things too, but just like those memories you have with the boys. I mean, you guys jumped out to a 2-0 start at nationals. You ran into, I mean, what's pretty much a dynasty in M3 with Hope. I know they made it all the way to the final, but like skill wise, did you guys win more games than you thought at nationals? Were you going for the whole thing? Like, walk us through like what it was like playing.
Yeah, I played that first game against Air Force, and we hadn't played for probably a month before that game. So that first game, I remember we got off to a rough start, and at that first period, I mean, felt like I was getting shelled back there, and but then we turned it around, and we had a tremendous come from behind dub in that game. I think we won like 6-5, or something crazy like that, and. So like getting there that first period, it really felt like holy shit, we're in a different league here. And but then it totally turned around, and the next game we played CMU, and we had a really good game that game, and we blew them out of the water. Tanner, other goalie, had a great game that game. And then yeah, we had the juggernaut of Hope, and while Hope was definitely a tough opponent, and I mean they beat us 8-1, so clearly there was a gap there. We were really, I think the whole time, everybody, while we were playing that game, we were losing, but at least I was just kind of taking notes and mental notes of like what they were doing, what makes them so good, and they just seemed really dedicated. They had a lot of buy-in. Their systems were crazy. They had every guy was bought into their systems, and they were constantly moving in the zone, and that made it really hard for us. And so we picked up on all those little things that we thought, were the differences between us and them, and we're trying to implement them into our game now. But yeah, so the last year, I think we were one of the best teams there. Really, I think if we didn't run into Hope, I think we would have met them in the finals or close to that. But now that we got to see what that kind of a program is and what it takes to be there, now we really think we've done a lot to close that gap, and now we really think we're one of the best teams in the country at the M3 level.
Yeah, I would say skill-wise, I think we came in extremely prepared. We had done a ton of research and a ton of video that our coaches cut for us on the opponents that we were playing. Of course, you can watch all the film in the world, but when you actually are ready to execute in the game, it's a different story, especially because we hadn't played in a while. So we did face a little adversity, but I think that we were one of the better I do think that we were one of the better teams, and we faced some tremendous teams. We also watched some tremendous teams. And that's what's cool about these tournaments is you're seeing the best of the best. And we ran into an incredible squad in Hope. And just as Jack said, they do a ton of really, really good things. But now that we have that taste of what it's like, our main focus is just we want to be like the best. We want to be the best, and we want to continue to be like the best. But it was cool to play those teams, and humbly, we would say that we felt that we were one of the better teams. And we also we played two really good teams before that, Central Michigan and Air Force. So a lot of preparation, a lot of things that we did to prepare for that. And we felt that we were pretty ready when we played.
Dobbs, you talk about buy-in. I mean, I don't think anybody bought in harder to Mizzou hockey than Jack Hazelton and that haircut he had at nationals. Like, did he lose a bet, or was that all on his own?
No, I don't think there's a person on this earth who's more bought into Mizzou hockey than Jack Hazelton, and that haircut shows it. I mean, Jack, he's one of our top defensemen, and he is, like first guy in line to defend a teammate, and the first guy in line to put his body on the line to make a play. And yeah, that shows with his hairstyle. I mean, he went all out. It was just kind of one of those like, should I do it, boys, type of things. And we were all of course like, yeah. And then not thinking he'd do it. And he went and did it, and we were all like, that's awesome. And yeah, so Jackie's a character. And I mean, Nick said in that story earlier, he jumped over the dog pile to get into the center of it when we won the MACHA tournament. So that's just that's just the kind of guy he is. He's a tiger through and through.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of compliments on the haircut. I think the value or the amount of times that we got Gumby's comments versus the hair are pretty similar, and it was a lot. So I know that he was getting a lot of bumps for the hair, and well deserved, because that was a sick haircut. Jack said that Jack was kind of contemplating it. I don't think he was really contemplating. I think he was 100% going to do it, but just needed some extra validation. But yeah, he said, once we win the MACHA, I'm going to do the hair. And we're like, all right, let's do it. Because he just had that buzz cut, and he wanted to do something cool with it, and it looked dope. So it was sick.
That's awesome. I mean, sticking with the theme of style here, I'm curious. Spol's like 64. Where does that number come from?
For sure. One of my favorite players growing up actually was Nail Yakupov in the Oilers because I'm an Oilers fan growing up. So when he got drafted in the league, I just for some reason loved his number. And while he was not the most successful NHLer, I think that number just universally came to me, and it's just been in my life ever since for about 12, 13 years now, and I've worn it in soccer and all the other sports that I've played. It's just found its way into my life. So Nail Yakupov is the reason for that. And it's just definitely become a number that I identify with for sure.
Well, you don't have to worry about anybody else taking it. That's for sure.
I don't think anyone's interested in snagging 6'4", and I might have to hit a Yakupov celly this year. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, save that for Centene, huh?
I was gonna say, yeah, I'll save that one for later.
Dobbs, is there any reason you wear number 1? I know some goalies are superstitious about their numbers, and I feel like the trend lately has been 29 and 30. Like, what makes you wear 1?
So actually, my whole life, I pretty much wore 31. But my dad was actually a huge Curtis Joseph fan. He named my older brother is actually his middle name is Joseph because he's such a big Cujo fan. And so he made me do 31 like all the way up until high school, and that number was taken. So then I was 35, and then I got to Mizzou, and we had 2 senior goalies at the time who, I love them, Brad and Bello. They're 2 of the guys who really took me under their wing when I got to just Mizzou in general. But they were both kind of like realized that I was going to be the number 1 guy, and they both literally looked at me. They're like, "You're taking one. You're taking one. Neither one of us are wearing one. You're wearing one." And so I was like, okay. And that's how I wore 1.
And you guys got some sweet new digs last year with the new jerseys. I got to ask, like, what's your favorite? You got the gray roads, the white homes, and the cream alternates. What's your jersey of choice?
It's a hard question. We got some good ones.
It's a good question. I think most of the guys love the cream, and that's just a one-off. We're just doing that for last year, and then we're going to have a new jersey design this year. But between our home and road set, I personally like the white jersey more, just because I think the yellow pops a little bit more on it. But I think they're both super sick, and they're both. It's a coin flip.
Yeah, I think it. So I like the black jersey because I like the tiger stripe. The subtle design on it is really nice. But a lot of people don't realize we actually have on our shoulder patches and on the the line going across our midsection is it's black, but it's also tiger stripe too. And so when you get close and you see that tiger stripe, I think our white unis are some of the best in the league, really.
For sure. And we got a ton of compliments at nationals and just throughout the year, just about our jerseys and. X Jerseys really hooked it up. We've developed a really good relationship with them. They're a fantastic uniform provider, and we've really liked working with them so far.
And Dobbs, I got to ask, because working behind the scenes on a club hockey team is hard enough as it is. You went and started a fraternity in your time at Mizzou?
Yeah, so the first year that I was here, so my freshman year, we had COVID and all of rec sports at Mizzou got shut down. So I didn't have hockey or a real brotherhood to really facilitate the kind of social guy that I am. And so I got in really early at a fraternity here at Mizzou called Farmhouse. There's a lot of Farmhouse chapters across the country and in Canada, but there was just an upstart chapter here at Mizzou that has a lot of history to it, but it was kicked off a few years ago, and they were bringing it back in my freshman year, and they were looking for guys to start it, and they had me and some guys that I knew my freshman year, and we wound up being one of the fastest growing fraternities in America that year, and we started with 5 guys and grew to 64, and we just absolutely blew up, and that was a crazy year in its own. And then that was before I even touched a hockey puck here at Mizzou. So that was my freshman year was a whirlwind of, growing a fraternity from nothing into something really big. And then we got a brand new house that's beautiful here on campus. So that's wonderful. That's been a really rewarding experience. And I was an executive for that fraternity. So I was in the ground running things for almost 2.5 years up until last year. And now I'm pretty much fully focused on hockey. And now I just get to hang out at the fraternity and don't have to run things anymore. But now I'm running things for the hockey team. So,
well, you mentioned getting a new house. I think we need a new house for you boys. Talk about the work that you guys are doing in the community to help grow hockey in Columbia and maybe get a rink closer to campus?
Definitely. One of our most fervent wishes as an organization is to just continue to build the community, interacting with the youth, just any members of the communities. If we're lucky enough to play in Jeff City, and market to those people, to those amazing people, as well as Columbia. So we get those two places to interact with the community and the fans, as well as other smaller satellite cities around the mid Missouri region. One big thing that we're super excited about is our community outreach project. That's going to be sponsored by DHI Roofing, a local company in Columbia. We want to get sticks in kids' hands, so we're going to be hosting a clinic at a local roller rink, just teaching the fundamentals of hockey. And what they're going to be given is a free hockey stick, a free ball, a free T-shirt, and a voucher to the game. We just want to break barriers to the entry of the sport, and we know that Mid-Missouri isn't a hockey hotbed quite yet. But with grassroots marketing efforts and just continuing to lend a hand out to the community, we can grow our organization and grow the sport in the same time.
Yeah, I mean, just like Nick said, the steps to getting a new rink first is getting interest here in the sport of hockey. And I kind of got to grow up in St. Louis at a really cool time where hockey has really exploded, like from when I was a kid doing Learn to Play to being in high school when the Blues won the Cup. Like hockey really exploded over that time period, and we had like high school hockey in St. Louis was really, really cool over that time period. And so I saw like how much hockey can grow in a short time span, and that has inspired me like really to bring that here and bring hockey to the middle of Missouri, because it's in St. Louis and it's in Kansas City, but here in Columbia, where we are in the middle, in Jeff City, in this area, there's just not a lot of coaching and there's not a lot of ice time to go around. So we're trying to make this sport as inclusive as possible, because it is a sport that's unfortunately hard to play for a lot of people. We're just trying to break down those barriers and get interest so that we can get a rink here in Columbia and then just expand.
Awesome. And speaking of rinks, Spoles, you mentioned that your dream is to one day either own your own rink or work for an NHL team. You had the opportunity to intern for the Blue Jackets recently. Like, how'd you get set up at that? What are you looking to do in sports?
Yeah, definitely. I want to grow the game. I want to be involved in community development, community outreach. That was the internship that I was able to have this summer, which I was so fortunate to have. It all kind of started with a teammate of mine whose dad worked for the Blue Jackets, who was able to get me a couple connections within their front office. And then I think just the resume and the interview process stood for itself. So kind of that, coupled with just the experience that I was able to bring, helped me out a lot. And I'm forever in a debt of gratitude to the way that the Blue Jackets organization treated me. They treated me so amazing, and they were so kind and so helpful to my career. They gave me and my intern partner a ton of responsibility, which was amazing for experience. And just the way they treated us and their organization was beyond first class. So they definitely have a fan for life, and it was so fun to activate for them and help grow their brand as well. We basically just go in the communities and teach kids how to play hockey, break barriers to the entry of the game, which is one of the best parts about it, and just really get on the front lines of fan development, meeting with the fan base, creating new ways to garner fans. It was a really cool opportunity. And like I said, the way the Blue Jackets treated me was so incredible. And I'm still, very thankful and glad that I can still have those connections and still reach out to them for advice or just to maintain conversation with them. It's been amazing.
Now, did you get the opportunity to throw your hat in the ring for the head coaching job last week, or did they not call your phone?
Yeah, no, I didn't get that opportunity, and I haven't heard a ton about that. But yeah, that's an interesting deal for sure.
Well, hey, we appreciate you boys hopping on. Like I said, we didn't even really get to talk about it, but I imagine with so many guys from the Midwest that the goal this year is to get back to nationals, right? And in St. Louis, like, what are you guys most looking forward to this year?
I think just continuing to grow our organization both on and off the ice. I think it's just a special time for us. The amount of people that we've been able to connect with, the things that we're doing, like I said, on and off the ice is so special, and we're continuing to do great things with the organization. We're excited, looking forward to just a really good season.
Yeah, and I want to win a national championship in my hometown.
That works. Yes, absolutely.
There we go. Awesome. Well, hey, appreciate you boys hopping on.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys as well. Obviously, the ACHA is something that's growing so incredibly rampant right now, and it's cool to see you guys on the front lines of helping catalyze that movement. So thank you guys for everything you do for college hockey and helping us and helping all the other organizations out. It means a lot to us.
Absolutely.
And we'll be in St. Louis too, so we hope to see you boys there.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to see you there.